The most pressure is on Lonzo Ball.
Why?
Because you have no LeBron on the floor, you have no Rondo, and now you lose the playmaker. And Lonzo Ball has been in question of playmaking, of scoring, his aggression. Last night he flirts around and almost has a triple-double, comes a rebound shy. So what Lonzo did met expectations until the fourth quarter. It was a 10-point lead down the stretch. And good teams find a way to close that out. And the Lakers could not bring it home. Now, we all know that LeBron James leads the NBA in fourth quarter scoring, so you question, how is this team going to finish games? But, Chiney, I saw a lot of promise. I mean, they defended. They played within themselves. If you had to ask for a better scenario outside of Bogdan Bogdanovic's shot, you couldn't ask for more.
It's true, but, I'm curious because you played with Rondo. How do you feel this finger is going to affect him? Because that's the only reason why I'm not putting too much pressure on Lonzo. Because if it's just the finger and he can come back soon, you still have depth at the point guard position.
I'm a bit concerned because this is a guy who will play with his knee falling off, elbow falling off. Woody, he's that type of dude.
Okay.
So for him to say finger, I'm questioning it. Is it more, or is it just something next game he says, man, I'm wrapping it up, I'm getting out there?
See, I have my eye on another player, but I do agree this is a very promising, I hate to say a character-building loss, but it was kind of a character loss. Up 15 with under 7 to go, and then they lose the game. But if you look at the young guns, they came to play. And if I'm LeBron James, I'm very proud of them. Kyle Kuzma looked like an all-star. I mean, when LeBron's out, he feels like he's the next best player on the floor.
Yeah, and when LeBron's in there, he feels like he's the best player on the floor.
That's a big fact. Lonzo gave you 20 and 12. There's so many other things, like Brandon Ingram, he gave you a good 22.
Yeah.
And if there's a player with huge expectations after being drafted number 2, and then Brandon Ingram is sort of assuming the number 2 kind of expectation playing with LeBron, it's a good sign that he gives you 22 points. Now, the question is, who has the ball late to really drive home a win? That's what they have to answer. The only concern, I guess, I have is the fact that they could slip in the standings. They could lose a couple games. And number 1 in the West right now, even though technically the Warriors have 23 wins, is the Nuggets with 21. Number 8 in the West, that is a team with 19 wins. So it's a little parity here. So if they lose 3, 4, 5, 6 games without LeBron, they could really mess up where they've positioned. They've worked so hard from the beginning of the year to put them in a good playoff position.
Yeah, I know. Listen, for me, I would have to go with Brandon Ingram. And I think what you saw in the game last night, once Lonzo went out, when he had those leg cramps, the ball wasn't moving. There was a lot of ISO with Brandon Ingram, and that's not the Lakers' game. The Lakers are not, I don't think at their best when they're playing a bunch of ISO ball, and that's how the Sacramento Kings ultimately climbed their way back into the game because the ball kept sticking primarily with Brandon Ingram. I think when Brandon Ingram is at his best, or when the Lakers are at their best, is when they're moving the ball around. That's when the Lakers were rolling and built up that big lead. So for me, Brandon Ingram has to understand the team concept and keeping the ball moving rather than playing iso ball and getting the ball stuck on his hands.
It's not where they're at their best feeding Brandon Ingram iso ball on the paint, but it's where they want to be at their best. And it's funny, when they played the Golden State Warriors, I thought of that gif of Spider-Man looking at Spider-Man with KD, because that's really where the mismatch is on this lineup. He's 7 feet. He came in with KD comparisons. They want him to be the guy that delivers, but so far it's Kyle Kuzma, it's Lonzo Ball that make plays.
I got 2 big words of advice real quick. In the fourth quarter, they weren't strong with the basketball. So, Woody, the reason that they had to ISO it around is they didn't trust each other moving the ball and everybody touching it. And if you are going to ISO, you ISO from the elbows. Why? You can't help. You see the double team coming. And if you're a long-rangey guy like Brandon Ingram, you get to your shot and shoot over somebody. So if you've got to dumb down the offense, so to speak, because you're not tough enough right now to move the ball in the fourth quarter, you ISO from the elbows and you make something happen.
And Ingram said that he welcomed this opportunity of not having LeBron James in the lineup. So how do they move forward and use this?
Well, these guys have to build confidence, and obviously the win against Golden State was big. You're going to have a tough one with the Clippers coming into town. You know what's happening.
He's a homer. He's a homer.
Hey, I'm an LA guy. Hey, Clippers for real this year. But they have to build confidence. They have to be able to play to where LeBron can trust right now that if he's off the floor, the ball's going to move. Somebody's going to step up and score. You're going to get good offense. LeBron is so smart. He's a stickler, not just for the scoring, but bad shots being taken, and that's what you've seen from the Lakers.
I agree, and again, this is where LeBron James plays well with people with irrational confidence. D-Wade in Miami, Kyrie in Cleveland. Now, this is the first time and a huge opportunity for these young guns to build irrational confidence together. Now, if it's me, I'm going to give Kyle Kuzma the ball because he looks like he wants it every time. Brandon Ingram will have a good mismatch if the help's there, but I go with the guy who's most confident with the ball, and that's either Lonzo Ball creating or Kyle Kuzma because he shows every time he steps on the court, he feels like he's the best player.
Now, we're talking about the players having the pressure, but what about the head coach, Luke Walton? How much pressure do you think he's under now to have these guys perform at their best without LeBron?
Woody, you know what that's like.
No, it's a lot. It's a tremendous amount of pressure because what you have in LeBron James, you have such a big luxury with a guy like LeBron James because in crunch time in the fourth quarter, all you gotta do is throw it to him. He'll facilitate.
Or he'll take it himself.
He'll take it himself. He'll facilitate, make things happen. He's another coach on the court. So now when you don't have that guy out there, that's when your coaching has to be at its peak because now you got to draw plays and you got to draw plays and make sure that guys are facilitating the offense and doing little things that when you don't have your superstar playing LeBron James, that's a big liability for you.
I would say outside of Kyle Kuzma and Josh Hart, because I know who they are, what they're going to give me, everybody's on a tryout. We're seeing who you are and including Luke Walton right now, so he's got to prove himself like you said, Woody.
Now, LeBron hasn't dealt with an injury like this that we know of in his career. Should they be hitting the panic button, or is this okay?
I think it's fine. LeBron James needed a rest. He's played 156 consecutive games, 116 straight regular season games. This is a guy that sort of deserves a rest. He did a lot, and I think a big narrative coming into the season was how much should LeBron be carrying the load? I honestly think that his load should be a little bit less. This is a good opportunity, and in your words, Ryan, a good tryout for others to show this is the reason I should get a piece of that load. To me, Kyle Kuzma has earned some. We're waiting on Brandon Ingram to also earn some piece of that load.